for this? Yeah.
Now, coming to you from the great state of Texas, it's the Cynthia Austin Show with CMA Award winner, Cynthia Austin. Now, here's your host, Cynthia Austin.
Good evening and welcome to the program. Cynthia Austin Show webcast mode is brought to you by Biz Post-it. Get listed and get noticed at bizpostit.com. Karyn Almendarez is here to talk about her book, Tragedies, Treasures. It's a book about grief, loss, and not losing hope. Karyn, how did your book, Tragedies, Treasures, come about?
It came about many years after my son died at the age of 16 in an early morning car accident. And at that time, I was teaching in a non-denominational Christian school, 6th grade, and one of the things that I was teaching was Bible. So I decided not to go back because I was in so much trauma, and that lasted about 2 weeks, and then I went back, and it was a godsend. And I would tell the students little stories about little messages I got or some verse that spoke to me, and they always said, "You need to write a book." And I'd say, yeah. So let's see, he died in 1997, and the first book came out in 2016. So that many years later, of course, it took me about 5 years to actually write the book. But one day on a vacation in Colorado, my husband and I were on a horseback ride, and it was just the two of us and the guide. And so the guide was kind of riding beside me, and we were visiting. He was a young man, real easy to talk to. We talked a lot about his family, and we just shared stories. Then when it got quiet, all of a sudden, I got a vision of what the book could be. And by the time we finished that 2.5-hour horseback ride, I had the name of the book, the names of the chapters, and the fact that it was going to have 12 treasures in it. So we went back, sat out by the pool, and I laboriously, on my notepad, wrote out everything that was popping into my brain, and that's how the book was born.
In your book, you talk about grieving your own way.
Grieving is very personal. The lady, and Elizabeth Kubler-Ross, I believe is her name, who came up with the stages of grief, she didn't even really mean for that to be used by counselors and therapists. But we have, and we've adopted these steps, making people think that if they don't hit the next step in a certain time frame, there's something wrong with them. And there's not, because those stages ebb and flow, sometimes simultaneously. Sometimes you never reach that stage. So it's more a walk of faith, and it's a personal journey rather than a prescription for how to get through it.
What do you say to a person whose faith has been shaken due to a loss?
Well, I don't preach to them.
Mm-hmm.
I just am there for them, and I listen to them, and I try to support them. And if there's anything that I can do or any questions I can answer for them, I do, and I pray for them.
In your book, you talk about don't lose hope, move through it. Move through it, don't lose hope. What do you say to, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, that's okay. Just the moving is the important part. We can't get stuck in depression, and it is depressing. And we do find ourselves in a state of depression. But the important thing is to move your feet, to get out and be with people, or to have enough alone time, or to go back to work, or to go on a walk. Just move through the steps of your life that you did before the trauma and the grief.
I had a friend of mine say to me once, each death is different. And when you permit yourself to feel, it could take a while. It could take a while. What do you say to the person who I like how you said you don't preach to people, but what do you say to the person who's been, I mean, it's been going on for a couple of years and they're having trouble moving forward, and yet people are trying to push them back out into society and they're not ready. They just, you know, they just stay closed off. Because I had a friend who stayed closed off for a couple of years and I couldn't imagine the pain.
It's, yes, being stifled and not moving is so painful. And I don't know what I would say to that person. Like I said before, there's nothing that you can say or I can say to move them through it. I might ask them if they have anybody to talk to. You know, when was the last time you talked to somebody about this? And if they are a believing person, I might say, can we pray together? You know, can I be available for you to talk to? What can I do to help you and to help get you through what you're going through?
Was this your first book?
Yes.
How has it been to all the new authors out there? How has this experience been for Karyn?
It's been wonderful. I actually, back in April, I published the second edition of it. In fact, I've been busy the last few months on publishing my first children's book.
Oh, congratulations.
Thank you. It has nothing to do with grief. So it's a rhyming, full color rhyming picture book. And the name of it is The Fly Who Flew, Who Knew? My husband and I were on an airplane and there was a fly in there. And I looked at him and I said, have you ever seen a fly on an airplane before? And he said, no, I don't think so. So we started watching the fly and watching people, you know, bat at him and swat at him with their newspapers, with their magazines. And my husband looked at me and he said, you know, that would make a very cute children's book.
Really?
So I have always loved rhyming, anything rhyming, you know, and I loved reading books to my children. And that was my favorite part of teaching. I'm a retired teacher, was to read to the kids and just really get them involved in the life of the book. So I've had more fun doing that, and it's just been awesome.
Do you think you would enjoy online teaching? We're in this new era now with the COVID and everything's going on. How do you feel about that? Children getting educations online?
Oh, I don't know. You know, it's the best that we can do right now. And I think the teachers are adapting really well to it. And I think we've got a new generation of teachers coming up that are so much more tech savvy than I was and other teachers might be. So it's going to be a whole new level of teaching. You know, we just all have to learn how to do it. The problem is that sometimes it's difficult for parents to motivate their kids to finish the work when it's online or, you know, virtual. So it's a challenge for sure.
I appreciate you coming on the show, Karyn.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. You can get a copy of Karyn's book at CynthiaAustin.com. I appreciate you watching. Make sure you go to CynthiaAustinShow.com for updates. And also, you can watch us on Facebook, Cynthia Austin Official Page. I'll talk to you next time.